You slide on your glasses, grab your keys, head down the stairs you've walked 1,000 times. The bottom step looks a ½ inch off. But here's what nobody tells you. Those glasses might be doubling that risk. I watched my father go down that same way. What if your glasses are the reason? Stay. You'll know your fall risk number by the end. I'm Atlas Reed. Subscribe. You belong here. Hashtag point 1. Somewhere in your bathroom or on your nightstand right now is a pair of glasses that could be quietly doubling your risk of a bad fall. Not the frames, not the prescription strength, the way the lens itself is built. Most men over 60 wear multifocal or progressive lenses because they're convenient. One pair, every distance covered, no fumbling for a second pair at the sink. Nobody ever mentions what that convenience is doing to your feet. Picture a set of stairs seen through a lens like that. Look down through the middle of a progressive lens and the world doesn't hold still. The step edge blurs and shifts depending on exactly where your eye lands on the glass, the way a photo blurs when you move the camera mid-shot. Your foot ends up trusting ground your eye can't quite confirm, one step at a time, dozens of times a day without you ever noticing the gap. Researchers actually tested this directly, comparing men in their everyday multifocals to men using a single lens pair for walking and distance. The multifocal group showed roughly double the fall risk. At 61, 3 years into rebuilding strength I'd let slip in my 50s, I watched my father, powerful his whole life, go down on wet tile reaching for a towel rail that wasn't there. The research later confirmed what that afternoon taught me. Strength and vision are separate systems, and a fall never waits for the weaker one. So if a pair of glasses can double a fall risk on its own, what's quietly happening with the other two systems your balance actually depends on, the ones nobody ever checks at a normal physical. Point 2. Balance isn't one thing. It's 3 separate systems working together. The inner ear telling you which way is up, the muscles and joints reporting where your feet are without you having to look, and your eyes acting as the tiebreaker whenever the other two get uncertain. On flat, familiar ground, all 3 usually agree, so you never think about any of them. The moment lighting is dim, or the floor changes texture, or the lens you're wearing distorts the picture, your eyes are supposed to step in and settle the argument. That's exactly why a lens that scrambles the picture at the wrong moment matters so much more after 60 than it ever did at 40. Here's the part almost nobody mentions. Almost none of this gets screened. A standard eye exam checks whether you can read the chart. It does not check whether your specific lens design is safe for you to walk in. This is what doesn't get checked at a normal physical, not because it doesn't matter, but because nobody asks. And it's not only the glasses. A body already managing a quiet, gradual decline in the inner ear and in the muscle sensors around the ankles and knees is exactly the body that can least afford a 4th variable working against it. Balance doesn't fail all at once. It fails one system at a time, quietly. Vision, the inner ear, the muscles, until one ordinary afternoon on the stairs asks for more than what's left. Which raises an uncomfortable question. If this is happening in something as ordinary as your glasses, where else in your daily routine is the same blind spot hiding? Nash point 3. Here's where it shows up next. Your home. The large majority of falls happen during completely ordinary activities. Walking to the bathroom, moving through a hallway you've crossed 1,000 times, the exact places you'd swear you know by heart. And in the same research tracking footwear habits, more than half of in-home falls happened while someone was wearing slippers, socks, or nothing on their feet at all. None of that is random. It's the same pattern as the glasses, small, unexamined daily choices stacking quietly against you in the one place you assume you're safest. This is the independence work at its core, not fear of the floor, but protecting the ordinary things you refuse to lose. Carrying your own groceries, getting down on the ground with a grandchild and back up without a second thought. And once you start looking for it, you realize you've never actually audited your own home or your own daily habits for exactly this, which is exactly the room-by-room vision and hazard audit that Still Standing After 60 walks through. It's linked in the description. If you're watching on a TV right now, there's a QR code on screen. Scan it, and it'll take you straight there. Because once you see how much your glasses, your floors, and your footwear can each quietly work against you on their own, the real question becomes, What happens when more than one of these is working against you at the same time? Have her point 4. That's the layer most men never get to, the stacking effect. A man with slightly weaker ankle control, wearing progressive lenses, crossing a hallway in socks, isn't looking at 3 small risks sitting side by side, each one waiting politely for its turn. He's not looking at 3 separate risks anymore. He's looking at one that doesn't wait for any of them to go first. The uncomfortable truth is that most of what raises your risk is sitting in your house or on your face, unexamined right now. And fixing one piece without the others still leaves you exposed, because the other 2 are still quietly working against you. I'm not going to hand you the full picture yet, because I want you to actually check something first, not just nod along. So do this right now, wherever you're sitting. Take off your glasses and look at them. Is that one prescription for everything, or does the strength shift somewhere on the lens? Check near the bottom, or look for a visible line. Then look down at your own feet. Socks? Slippers? Bare? Now think back to the last set of stairs or the last uneven curb you walked over today, and be honest about whether you actually looked at your feet the whole way down, or just trusted the picture your eyes gave you. 2 of those 3 answers just told you something real about your own risk. Not a guess, an actual audit, right where you're sitting. Point 5. Here's the full picture. Your balance runs on 3 systems: inner ear, muscle sense, and vision. And every one of them can degrade quietly, on its own timeline, without a single symptom you'd notice day to day. Your glasses can undermine the vision system specifically, in a way a standard eye exam rarely catches. Your floors and your footwear can undermine it further, in ways nobody audits unless you do it yourself, the way you just did. None of that is meant to worry you. This is simply information meant to help you make one deliberate decision on your own timeline before an afternoon on the stairs makes it for you instead. Because the goal was never to eliminate every risk in the world. It's to be the kind of man who checks his own glasses, checks his own hallway, and keeps walking into every room in his life as he owns it. Not like he's negotiating with the floor to let him through, wondering which system might fail him first. So if you started this video wondering whether your own glasses might be working against you, now you know exactly why and exactly what to check. But your glasses were never the only piece. They're one system out of 3, in a body that's managing this quietly, whether you're paying attention to it or not. That full system, the vision checks, the home audit, and the exact exercises for the other 2 systems your glasses can't fix, is what Still Standing After 60 walks through end to end, so you're not guessing which piece matters most for you specifically. It's linked in the description below, and the QR code is back on screen now if you're watching on a TV. The cost of waiting here isn't hypothetical. A second fall is markedly more likely once you've already had one, so the version of this that costs you the least is the one you do before that first fall, not after it. If this is the kind of training intelligence you want every week, subscribe. We put out videos weekly, and everyone is built for men serious about staying independent. I'm Atlas Reed. Keep doing the work.